Well, hello everybody, and I hope you've all had a very, very good week indeed. Of course, this week saw the celebration of Eid for many of our community, and we celebrated it here at St Dunstan's, and I hope that all of you had a really wonderful celebration. We also have started this week to get into the thick of our development planning for next academic year. So this is where we really start to think about what our priorities are going to be for the following academic year, drawing on feedback from the pupils. We survey all of the pupils. And also your feedback too, and of course the feedback from staff. So that process has begun. Just for those who don't know, we do start the new academic year with a launch of that development plan priorities from the college leadership team, and we will do that again next academic year so that you're aware what the priorities are for the upcoming year. But my thanks to you for the feedback that you have given. It really is invaluable to help shape where our areas of focus are going forward. Next week, the theme of the week is philosophy, but there's also lots of other things going on. Firstly, to point out, of course, that the COVID restrictions change on Monday, and it's important that we're all aware of that. It is very clear from the Department for Education that children are not recommended now to wear face coverings either in the classroom or in the corridors. Two things I'd like to say about that. We will support that, of course. They do not have to wear their face coverings. However, there are some classrooms in our old Victorian building where it is very difficult for teachers to keep a 2 metre distance from the children, and the children to keep a 2 metres distance from them. So what I would ask, please, I mean the junior school have never had to wear face coverings, but if your child is a senior school child, please could they bring a face covering with them anyway, just in case they find themselves in that situation and the teacher feels they have no choice but to ask them to wear their face covering for a portion of a lesson or whatever it might be, because we do have a very particular type of building here, obviously being built in 1888. And the other point associated with that is, if your child is anxious and would rather wear a face covering, of course they can. We're not going to prevent people from wearing a face covering, but the Department for Education is very clear about that shift in light, of course, of the success of the vaccination programme. Next week also sees some ongoing testing and assessment. It's the final exam cycle for year 11 and year 13, so we wish them the very best of luck with those final exams. They then move on to pre-A-level courses and pre-university courses respectively, which are all shaping up very nicely and look to be very exciting. Not just in the senior school where we have assessment. Year 5, you have your assessment week next week as well. I'm sure you're aware of that. And then there are various other things that are going on. So we have the junior school year 4 showcase themed around Roald Dahl, which is obviously going to be extremely exciting. So details of that are forthcoming. And we also have a Harry Potter Day in the junior school in memory of Anna Maria Ong, which is a wonderful thing. So we look forward to that too. Just a couple of final updates. Firstly, I know many of you choose to cycle to school, which is great, and we encourage that hugely. We want to support it, so we are putting in place more cycle racks on and around the front drive. We're actually making some adjustments over the May half term to where the west gate sits, and that will enable us to put more cycle racks in. So please be reassured by that. It's very much on our minds and on our build agenda. Finally, just to remind you about communications, some years ago now, a couple of years ago now, we introduced this, which is the Parent College Communication Guide. If you haven't got a copy of it, please find it. There's one on the parent portal, there's one you can access it on the website too. But inside you will find a number of pyramids which really do walk you through who you should communicate with over what issues or challenges and at what level of the organisation, and most importantly how to escalate it and who to escalate it to if you're not satisfied with the response or you're not getting anywhere with it. So a lot of thought went into this little what looks like a very simple diagram. It is a relatively simple diagram, but do use it please, because it's a very important means of communication. And on the front we also talk about our kind of principles over how we communicate as a community, as a broad and relatively complex community in terms of size. So please do have a little look at that if you haven't already. And I think that's it for my updates this week. The weather looks awful for this weekend, which is a real shame. But anyway, I hope you have a nice weekend and look forward to updating you next week.